so ugly. I'm sorry. Anyways, welcome back to another wonderful review of Wonderful Precure. But before we even get into this episode, let me fulfill my promise from 2 weeks ago. Here are some of the comments we had last week regarding some future theories and thoughts. Starting with Carrie Gligorovic 9758. Nico-sama is definitely very beautiful in her human form, as she looks more like a goddess, and I wonder if the Kirin animals will have human forms like Nico-sama, which honestly, super cool idea, super vibing with that. As for Gao, despite the fact that he has observed humans and animals for himself, but he still won't let go of his hatred for humans, as he's willing to use innocent animals just to get revenge. Which is like, that's a big thing from the last episode, is the fact that he's willing to hurt the animals that he's trying to protect, and I wonder if that will be something that is a point of contention by the end of the series, since he is technically speaking doing more harm than everyone else is. Another comment from Yona Kuromatoki. On a serious note, I'm thinking Kamugi's resistance from being a Gao-gun has single-handedly become a tested game for Gao-sama, and his plans in the final fight. My theory is that the Blue Wolf spirit maybe had a similar energy to our brave Dago, and might have a relationship with Gao-sama in the past, which I like that. I like this idea too, that the wolf spirit might be a separate entity outside of Gao. This blue spirit's really got me super, super curious, and I can't wait to see how that unfolds in the future. Nonetheless, let's dive into this episode. Now, first things I kind of want to just get out there before I sink into this episode is I've never been a huge fan of the episodes where we change forms and we spend the whole episode with that being the gimmick. I didn't particularly care for the bit in Sailor Moon where she and Chibi Moon switched ages. Some of the season's characters will turn into fairies. We had the body swap episode in Tropical Rouge. I don't really like this particular gimmick, even for filler. I feel like it's cool when people do it as artwork and you stare at it for a second and then you move on with your life. But I feel like when they wrap it around an entire episode, it can be kind of overdone and boring. It just really isn't for me. However, I will say that I liked the way that this episode handled it for a couple of reasons. The first thing I do enjoy about this is that this is a show where the characters have different, they're different species. And so to see Iroha become a dog, to see Mayu become a cat, it feels a little bit more full circle. It feels like this would be the season to do something like that, because transforming into other creatures is already a gimmick in the show. In the same way that I wish in Tropical Rouge they all just turned into mermaids, not just swapped bodies. Way cooler, but whatever. And I'm not the only one who enjoyed that, because Yuki was like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. Mayu is a cat! Oh my god! She was so excited for this, which, mood. We love a cute cat moment. And of course we've got Nico-sama sitting here very smugly as she is responsible for the conflict that occurs in this episode. Which also, we started very cold. We immediately had them transformed, and no context, and went straight into the opening. But I also like their designs. I feel like there's a little bit of controversy on whether or not we like the designs. I like the designs for the most part. I think Iroha is really cute as a dog. It took some getting used to like Mayu, specifically with her having this her cool tone brown, which is her hair color. Makes sense. Wouldn't have minded if she was I don't know what color I was expecting Mayu to be, not this. But similar to Yuki, I grew fond of it as it went on. She's a cute cat. Looks a little bit like a squirrel because they tried to put in her bangs, but she's a cute cat. But we do take it from the top of the episode explaining what happened. They're all traveling to the shrine that they got a little bit of a note of that's likely where Gao has been resting and healing. I just needed to take a little side note to insult them because it needs to be said. Their winter outfits are horrendous. I don't know what's going on because their outfits in the movie are so good. All of them have major improvements in their wardrobe in the movie, which they always do. The wardrobe in the movies in general is usually, always a slay. I don't know what the world they're wearing right now. I mean, Mayu's outfit, most of them are just wearing some kind of jacket over their regular clothes, but Mayu's outfit is horrendous. I get that she's green, but we didn't have to use every shade of green in this outfit with a touch of pink. There's just too much going on. Too much going on. And then Yuki, oh my god, Yuki's giving me 90s trauma, where we're all just layering stuff all the time. We're putting dresses over jeans. It was a bad time. We left that in the past. You don't need to bring it back, Yuki. Thank you very much. Satoru's a little bit better. There's a couple of, colors happening here, but To be honest, I hate his stupid collared shirt so much, so he's much cuter when he wears like a sweater or a sweatshirt, but that's my own bias. And just to keep the insults going, because I'm feeling a little frisky right now. Yeah, what are we doing, Iroha? What is this outfit? Like, there's just too many colors. There's too much going on. We just need to calm down. Like, it's a regular outfit with this, like, this top on, which the thing is, if you take any one piece of the outfit, it's cute and that could be really doing something, but all together we're just, oh man, she played Infinity Nikki and was like, I just gotta win that match and it doesn't matter how horrendous I be looking. Kamuki's is like probably the okayest one of the group, but I also think for as much as that outfit has scallops, and I do love a good scallop, I don't like the scallops here. The scallops feel like we just threw them on and we didn't have any. There's no chart in this course. We're just putting everything willy-nilly. I don't know what the team is doing, and if we're gonna continue to see these outfits past this episode, I'm gonna need to take a deep breath because they're so ugly. They're so ugly. I'm sorry. Anyways, back to the reason why I actually like this episode, despite it having a couple of things that I don't like. I like that this is a good balance for what it is as filler, are close to the concept of filler. I knew this episode had to be more lighthearted, and I'm glad that it was, because we have had some heavy-hitting episodes. We have had the intensity of Iroha and Satoru's relationship, and we had the intensity of last episode. We were getting evil transformations, we were getting villain reveals, we were getting past, future. It was a lot last episode. So I needed this episode to be kind of low stakes. I didn't need a lot going on in this episode, but they still kept the episode with a few different nuggets of important information, which I enjoyed. One is just everything to do with the shrine. This shrine, we have known as the audience. We have been privy to the fact that this is where Gao has been, and it's some kind of wolf-esque shrine. It's nice that the characters are kind of catching up to where we are, so that we're all now on the same page. He was here, and he was here healing, and this has to do with the past that we've kind of been slowly unearthing as the series has gone on. We have Yuki do her catly duties, and scoots on in there, despite it being kind of hard to get in, as a cat does, and checks the shrine for good old Gao. It's very creepy when they come in here, but he's gone. And as now, again, similar to us as the audience, we're also like, we don't know where he went. I would assume he would have gone back here after the confrontation of last episode. So our team's just been smart. They've been making smart choices. They're checking it and they're like, well, we don't know where he went. Nigo-sama is on the case. She's like, don't worry guys, I have a skill. And she uses this like EMP echolocation bit to try to figure out where he is, which I think this is the first time we've really had one of the goddess-esque characters in the series get enough of their power back that they're useful. And she tries to like locate him with her powers and see if he's in the area. Niku-sama's EMP though does not work. She's not fully charged up, and it does cause the aftermath, which just gives us our kooky silly thing for the other half of this episode, which is what I think just makes it lighthearted, and why I'm not bothered by the fact that they do this. It's purely cosmetic. Them changing into a dog and a cat is really just there to be fun and gimmicky. They don't make it dramatic, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. I prefer it be this way. Other seasons, like, there's a lesson to be learned about switching bodies, understand the perspective of somebody else with some deeper meaning, and I get the point of a walk in somebody else's shoe kind of thing, but it never really clicks with me that much in other shows. It's not my favorite trope. Here, again, it's just fun, and it's cosmetic, and it's not that deep. And we get goofy, silly moments. For what we were, like, sitting here doing hard mystery solving, we take a break and have a little gimmicky moment. In the meantime, we do, as the audience once again, get a little information of where Gao went. Instead of going back to his shrine, he's like, I'm just gonna sit on this tall rock in the middle of nowhere, so shout out to the tall rocks. And then it starts to lead into the other half of this episode, which I thought the first half we would just do the gimmick, we would have put the pieces together, and that's basically all the value had in this episode. But immediately, this scene put in information that made this such a solid, like, well-rounded episode, and the other reason why this episode is valuable, which is Torame. So we see the evil villain group once again, but we get a little bit more information on their dynamic. Gao here is just sleeping, so whether he's intentionally or not intentionally, is not interacting with Zakuro, who obviously shows that her loyalty is that she loves him. But Torame is interesting, and it's not something that I've paid much attention to until this moment. I have not really realized that Torame doesn't care too much about the group. He doesn't have extremely strong loyalty to Gao. And I think it plays into his character of being, like, a younger guy, as well as, like, having a bit of his canine self into it, but he's never really been super on board with it. But we'll get to that in a little bit. As for our little gimmicky bit of this episode, we see all the cat love. We get this nice little reverse moment, which I just thought was cute. I'm a cat person. I love to see the little cat thing. I love to see Yuki get her revengeance here on Mayu. I also think it's just really adorable to showcase how much the two like each other. Again, one of my fears with this season when Yuki first was, like, being shown in the series, I thought she was going to be standoffish and feel better than everybody else, but she loves Mayu, and I think that's what makes me love Yuki as a character. Like, just seeing the two of them have fun, and again, we do get that bit of, like, walk in your shoes, understand why Yuki behaves the way she does. We get the cat punch from Mayu. But, like, it's done in such a playful and lighthearted way, and it's not, like, deep, and there's no drama attached to it, which I don't know if I've really seen this be this lighthearted and just fun, which it's just fun. It's so cute. I love my little babies being so happy together and playing. It's so adorable, and it was a cute scene. It was a cute scene. Iroha is really popular with the dogs, as Nico points out, which I thought was the funniest scene. Because Satoru literally gets so jealous and he's like, I'm taking you away, Iroha. His jealousy is so funny to me. And seeing Nico-sama torment him is great too. Again, like, Nico-sama was another character that I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like her. She's very diva-ish and she feels like she kind of, yeah, will poke the bear occasionally, but it seems that her tormenting of the characters and her sort of poking and prodding really comes to people in a comical way, like Satoru, and her mischievousness is not something that's very malicious towards the rest of the cast. Also, I think if they should try to be mean to, like, Komugi or something, it'd just go over Komugi's head. And of course, we get our adorable romantic moment where Satoru is like, oh, I'm sorry I picked you up, and Hiro's like, no, it's okay. It's cute. Cute. But back to Torame. He has been interesting thus far in the series, and I wonder if this also plays any role or will play any bigger role to the fact that he always uses the eggs and doesn't actually transform the other animals. Most every time he's gone out in the last few moments he showed up, he plays with the animals in town. He observes them and, like, wants to play with them and wants to get along, but also seems to have some awareness too. Because they throw in that bit where he acknowledges that you guys aren't hibernating yet. You're supposed to be hibernating, but it's because it's so much warmer. A little nod to global warming there. Like, he does have some genuine love to these animals, even if the animals really, like, do not care about him. I like this little break in his character. I like this humanization and just seeming more and more like he just wants to play and get along and engage with other animals. He doesn't seem to be the kind of person who really wants to stay hell-bent on revenge against humanity, which I think is going to be all the more sad if we get this reveal that maybe, like, before he passed away, he really just wanted to play with humans, and he wanted to have a fun time, and they, you know, they killed him. He was very dead, and it was very sad. I feel like they could do a really sad TM backstory for him specifically, but I also feel like he is on the road to redemption. And so, of course, since he showed up and he's seen the frogs, we're gonna have a frog villain come up. But we also have Nico-sama come in here doing the one thing that I needed her to do, which was, oh no, we gotta fight the monster of the week, but we're stuck as animals. And Nico-sama's like, it's okay. We charged up my power with the power of happiness and smiles, which is why we had that little park side quest earlier. And they just turn back to normal. It's not a huge problem. Them transforming into animals was never, like, overly dramatic. It was just there to have the cosmetic fun of the first half of the episode. Fine, and I prefer that. And of course our girls are back. But I don't know if that's kind of a tragedy, because I have to see these outfits again. I'm sorry, they're really ugly! Actually, I'm not sorry, they're just ugly. I do hope we see them back as animals again, because that was fun. The other thing I wanted to note about this episode was that it was severely outsourced. I have to look back at the staff, but I feel like next to no one from the, like, home studio worked on this episode. It was just, everything was outsourced. So I knew going into this episode the animation was not going to be stellar, but again, my expectations for this episode were really low because we had the hard-hitting episodes that we needed some of the episodes where we take a break and we can do less good animation. But yeah, the battle animation was real bad. But they did make up for it with having a more clever confrontation than we normally do. Basically, our frog enemy will only attack you if you move. Therefore, I immediately was like, oh, so we're gonna play red light, green light. Which is precisely the solution that they come up with. The girls basically surround him, and they just keep playing red light, green light with him as the frog decides, I don't know who to attack. And during all of this, we get the attention of Torame. He immediately likes the fun of the game. He's really into it. Because compared to the other animals where they need to be like, we gotta rescue them and we gotta pet them and be like, come back to us. For Torame Gaogans, they typically do more game stuff. And he's into that. He's like, this is fun. He's like, this is way better than sitting around and being bored with Gao. And he has so much fun that he basically plays along and lets the frog get captured and purified. And dude he has a good time, like, it's just nice. And we have Lillian just smack the frog down in the battle. Simple, easy. And then we have Torame's reaction, but exactly what I needed for this episode to wrap up kind of nicely. Again, we had the first half where we did our gimmick, and we got a little bit of information about Gao. This half of the episode was carried by Torame, and the fact that he was like, whoa, I lost. But he had fun. He was like, you guys are great, your games are super fun. And just seeing this little tinge of, oh, we can fix him. And then our girls acknowledge it. I gotta stop being super surprised because Precure's been better about this in more recent seasons, but the character's actually noticing the change in his personality and also acknowledging that, hey, he can probably be a good guy. He really just wanted to play similarly to all of the Gao goons we've been saving this entire time. He's the exact same way. And then just to round off our gimmick episode, we have Nico-sama transform Satoru into a rabbit, which also I'm really offended that Daifuku was not in this episode. I'm really pissed about it. Like, he could have, his only dream is to talk to Daifuku. It's like his like one MO in life is just to have a conversation with Daifuku. And we didn't have Daifuku here. It was really rude. But he just run off into the sunset, doing the one thing we never thought Satoru would be capable of, which is running fast. This kid is like, oh my god, I can go fast, I can soar. Our little lack of athlete has turned it around, doing what none of us thought he could do. And all the while, I'm surprised he didn't run into something, because he's sitting here monologuing dumb facts the entire time. All's well, it ends well. And then I just wanted to keep this preview image in here for the next episode, because Yuki is wearing what I have now realized with my infinite wisdom is a recolor of Nico-sama's outfit. Super pretty. Love this dress. For what we had to deal with, that was a fashion nightmare. I think her goddess design is very pretty. And it looks really good in Yuki, especially when we have this, like, uniformed green colors. It's really nice, so I'm excited for what's gonna go down next episode. And just like last week, if you guys have any particular theories or any big things that I didn't notice in the episode, I'll try to do the comment thing a little bit more often because I think it's really fun and I like to include you guys in these episodes if I can. But nonetheless, thank you for joining me this week and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!